Hello, everyone, and welcome to the top 16 of Wisconsin Regionals. I am Josue Crimz Rojano, and with me is Kyle Pooka Sucevich. And we're actually watching your match, Kyle.
Yeah, that's me, huh? What was I thinking with that mustache?
Puka Stash 2013, baby. You're actually going up against Isaiah Bettridge, who is actually the number one seed coming into this top cut round.
Yep. Yeah, he went undefeated in Swiss, 8-0. We had him on stream a couple times. Great player, even better guy. I met him at an earlier regional this season. He also beat me. Well, he beat me in Swiss there, so I wanted to get some revenge here, but we'll see.
Seems like he might have been your Achilles heel coming into this match. Now, you were playing Garbodor, which actually is a lot like Fossil Muck back from back in the day. That's my baby. My
It's going way
uh,
back.
yeah, that's how I know these cards. And then Isaiah is actually playing kind of a very similar version to your deck, except for he chooses not to use the Muck wannabe, and he chooses to actually just focus on these big basic Pokemon that your deck also has. So his deck seems to be a lot more streamlined, whereas yours tries to do a little bit something extra against these other Stage 2 decks in the metagame.
That's true. His deck is a lot more consistent, streamlined, gets right to the point, where mine was more I want to try to shut down things like Blastoise and Electric and those kind of decks with that Garbodor. But in a mirror match like this, I'm definitely going to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, now even though you are obviously at a disadvantage since he does have um, more options when it comes to this type of a match, you also have very similar Pokemon. You guys both use Landorus EX, and you actually use Mewtwo EX, and you guys just both try to do this EX strategy. Whereas um, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but
We'll
look,
salvage
man.
it.
All right, wait. I just want to have a disclaimer here. This is my first time back in a very long time, and even though I'm excited to be here and I'm excited to be casting this, I might be a little bit rusty. All right, so bear with me.
It's all right. We'll get you through this. Now, for people who watch this live, we did have Pram and Ben commentate this the first time, but the audio was a little messed up, so we got to redo it. And here we go.
All right, now you did start with that Trubbish, which even though it's got a measly 60 HP, at least it only gives up one prize, which will prove to be kind of irrelevant since he still has to knock out three EXs if he kills one of your Trubbishes. And he starts off with the Landorus EX. Landorus EX is obviously his ideal starter here.
Yeah, I think so. Now, Trubbish is the worst starter for me, on the other hand. This is going to make me either give up a prize early on, or I'm going to lose an energy attachment or a switch, getting that out of there. So this is really the last thing I want to see in my opening hand. I don't want to start with Trubbish. It's going to make me waste a turn probably, but we'll see.
Yeah, now you actually chose to attach the energy to your Landorus, giving up on your Trubbish in a way. And now you actually get a Hypnotoxic Laser and you get heads. So you did put the Landorus to sleep, and you also end him. So you chose not to use Garbage Collection. Is that a standard strategy for you? You just choose completely to ignore your Trubbish?
I felt like in a match like this, where he's going to have the advantage for the most part, I really need to take some risks here and there. So I think in most games, I would probably just settle on the garbage collection. But here I'm playing the N and hoping to draw a switch so I can put some pressure on early on.
Okay. Now that does have a lot to do with the fact that this is a poor matchup for you, and you actually want to not be so. You want to be proactive. You don't want to be reactive to them.
Right.
And you draw a couple of Trubbishes and an energy, as well as a few other cards. But you get that. You did get that Eviolite, which I'm assuming happens to be or has to be kind of important in this matchup against Landers.
Yeah, if anything's going to give me a shot at this, it's going to be the fact that I run Eviolite and he doesn't. When Hypnotoxic Laser came out, a lot of these big basic decks just didn't have the space for a card like Eviolite anymore. Whereas when you're playing the Garbodor deck, you obviously have to run tools to turn on that Garbotoxin ability. So having that reducing attacks by 20 could definitely pay off.
Now your opponent did play a Sharon here, and you're absolutely right that the Eviolite will prove to be pretty important here. Now he plays a Bouffalant, which is another one of his basic Pokemon. It doesn't give your opponent two prizes, which is obviously important. It makes it so that they still have to knock out quite a few Pokemon, and it seems like it'll be a pretty relevant attacker here. He chose to actually attach the double colorless to the Bouffalant, instead of wasting an energy on his Landers.
Yeah, that can actually be a pretty scary card. The Gold Breaker for 3 energy, it does 120 to an EX. So that's definitely something I got to look out for. There's no easy way for me to knock it out either, unless I get 3 energy on a Landers.
Now he plays a very ambitious Verbank City Gym, and immediately catchers up your Landers and actually puts it to sleep. And you actually stay asleep. Wow. Oh man, that's gotta be really frustrating actually if you're you.
Yeah, I don't think anybody likes Hypnotoxic Laser, especially the sleep flip part of it, but it is part of the game, and sometimes you're just going to stay asleep. And you can see this is going to cost me a lot. I'm going to be stuck there, not being able to attack. I would obviously like to be able to Hammerhead this turn. In an ideal situation, I would have a switch here, but my hand is pretty dead, and this game is looking pretty bad right off the start.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with you. Now, actually, I can because I think Isaiah really likes Hypnotoxic Laser right about now. I
It
don't know
works
what you're
for
talking
him.
about. And you know what? That really did put you in the back foot. We saw yet that your end really didn't give you too many options, and the fact that he just played that Burbank City Gym and just had like that 3 card combination, which is just so grueling. It doesn't truly matter that he didn't even attach an energy to his Landers. It's you that's in the back foot right now. How sickening is that, really?
Yeah, the sickening part is that it's going to allow him to Gold Breaker me for a knockout because I couldn't get out of that poison. If he just has a switch and an energy, he'll hit me for 100 after the Eviolite, but then the 30 from the poison and the Verbank finishes me off. So that play paid off big time for him. Whereas if I had a switch, that really doesn't do very much. But there's the Max Potion, and that is actually the card I am fearing the most in this matchup.
Now you see him play Bicycle for 1 card, and he actually hits the switch, which I'm sure like kind of that's got to bring like a really sickening feeling to the pit of your stomach if you're you again. But really that Bicycle it's not a card that you see very often here and in these types of decks, and it paid dividends for him incredibly well there. Getting him that 1 card out of the top of his deck happened to be the switch, so now he actually switches onto the Bouffalon and plays an N, drawing himself 6 new cards, and he's really just looking for an energy card here.
Yeah, one of the downsides of watching matches like this is you can see things like that happen again. Where you forget your opponent top decks out of situations sometimes, but I mean that's just part of the game.
And I
Obviously,
believe I just saw an energy out of him, so
yeah, obviously if he doesn't draw the switch this turn, this play doesn't pay off at all. But again, he's drawn the right cards. I am not, and you can see it's going to go downhill really quickly for me. But at least he ended me into a fresh hand. I was happy about that.
that is true. Now, how do you feel about your opponent playing 2 Bouffalons there? Is it really irrelevant at this point, or do you feel like maybe he's overextending his bench here?
I don't think so. I mean, he's already got a 3 retreat Pokemon in Landorus, and he plays 4 switch like any big basic deck would. So I don't think putting down that Bouffalon, or both of those, are going to be a big deal. That's actually what he focuses on in these kinds of matchups, just because the combination of Gold Breaker and Laser can hit you up to 150 very quickly, and then if you don't switch out of the poison, it's actually 180 and it knocks you out, so really deadly.
Well, to be fair, Laser in any type of attack really is a pretty good combination.
True.
Now, you go after a Trubbish here, which obviously cannot be ideal. I'm not sure if you actually just used it to get rid of a level ball in your hand, or
Yeah.
if you're actually trying to cast it so you don't get benched. But either way, you do Hypnotoxic Laser. You play a Rescue Scarf on your Trubbish, and you're gonna Juniper. You're
That's
gonna
a
get rid
giant cape, actually, so I'm hoping that my old Trubbish is going to survive the turn.
Yep, my apologies. You're right. And you actually discarded both of your Trubbishes, choosing to try to top deck into a basic Pokemon and not have to risk playing these cards. Did that pay off? We'll find out. It did. It did. Now, I guess your reasoning for this is saying, well, if I don't get a basic Pokemon here, I'm probably losing the game anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put down another easy prize for him to pick off. I'm fine putting down 1 Trubbish since it doesn't affect how many EXs he has to knock out. I don't play any attackers besides EXs, so I want to force him to knock out 3 EXs to win. So I don't want to put down another 60-point Trubbish. But I didn't get an energy attachment that turn. I have to garbage collection for a supporter, so pretty much everything is going wrong right now.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Including he woke up. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't let that Buffalon stay asleep for an extra turn, or he didn't anyways. And now he's again got all the power in the world to do whatever he wants. He has energy on his active Pokemon. He he's taken two prizes. He's got I don't know, man. This feels like it's already a lost matchup for you, or a lost game anyways. It is the best 2 out of 3.
Yeah, this is definitely a game where I thought I was probably going to lose at this point, but if that Trubbish can actually survive the turn because of the Giant Cape, I'm going to be able to get Garbodor out, and then I should be fine. I can hit the Bouffalons for maximum damage, shut off the Boofer, but as you can see, he decides it's worth playing a laser to get rid of it. And that's kind of a bummer for me. This is where I feel like, all right, I'm really far behind.
Yeah, and it absolutely is worth playing a laser to get rid of it. He knows that it's the only energy you have on your field. He knows that you missed an energy drop. He knows that you had to actually garbage collection for an end. So he's got all this information, and all he wants to do at this point is he doesn't mind overextending. He just wants to try to end this game as soon as possible.
Yeah, now on the bright side, I did garbage collection for the end, so he's going to go down to 3 cards. I'm going to go to 6, and after that laser damage, it's going to add up where I knock him out with Hammerhead, even after the Boofer reduces it by 20. So I am going to knock out the Bouffalant, hopefully, if I get an energy. That's step 1, I suppose. So
You're debating getting a third energy or a Landorus, right? Yeah, there it is,
yeah.
and you go for the Landorus.
Yeah, I mean, those are the only energy I've played so far, so I figure I'm probably going to need to get a second Pokemon into play if I want to win, because he still has to knock out 2 more. So I might as well shuffle in that Landorus.
Fair assessment. Now that N is going to give him down to 3 cards, which is awesome here for you, and it's going to give you a fresh hand of 6. So you're definitely not out of this game.
No.
It's just a matter of actually getting a good hand. Really, you haven't had very good hands when it comes to this game, and you're dying for one right now.
Yeah, at this point, I really have to hope that, I just get lucky. I have to hope that either he draws poorly, or I draw really well, or some laser flips go my way. Anything can happen when you have laser and N together. So I'm definitely not going to give up on this game. I realize I'm very far behind, but no point giving up.
Yeah, now you actually missed the energy, but you hit a computer search. So you're going to have to computer search for an energy, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's actually really painful to have to waste the computer search on a basic energy. But sometimes you got to do it, and that's just kind of how strong computer search is. The fact that it can be anything.
Yeah, exactly. Even though it sucks to do it, you're still incredibly happy that you have that opportunity, and that you didn't just have to pass there and pretty much give up the game.
Yeah.
So you did get to computer search for the energy, and you will attach it. And I'm actually interested to see what your next couple turns are going to look like, because you're obviously not out of it, but you're definitely hoping for your opponent to kind of just say pass after this.
Yeah, I mean that would be the ideal spot. I had an interesting choice there on where to put the Eviolite. I figured the active Landorus is just going to get hit by Goal Breaker, and it's going to get knocked out in 2 hits regardless, so might as well put it on the bench one. But it does open me up for a play where if he has another laser, that could hurt me a lot. Reducing the damage by 20 could be huge, and go figure, there's a laser.
Yeah, he actually swept the laser, so it's almost like you made your heart skip a beat because you know it's coming now. And then he put it back up in his hand, and then he's like, all right, I'm just kidding, I'm playing it.
Yeah. I was crossing my fingers that he wouldn't play it, but he did. And now the reason this is so bad is I'm going to get hit for 120, plus the 30 from Poison and Verbank, and then if I don't move my Landorus, I get knocked out by Poison going back into his turn. So it's just the worst situation in the world.
Yeah, okay. Well,
yeah.
In that case, let's see what can actually happen for you here. You have a 2-card hand. One of them's an Ultra Ball. Or maybe a 3-card hand. Now it's a 4. Okay, you did have a Juniper. I didn't see a Juniper.
Yeah.
And that is going to give you a new fresh hand. What are you looking for here?
A switch. I need to get out of the poison, first and foremost. If I don't... I don't know. I think a Max Potion would be my other card to draw here.
Yeah, I was about to say that. You do play 1 Max Potion in your deck. And you're really looking for that, or obviously the switch. And you do hit the switch, which is awesome for you.
Yeah.
But now that Landorus is still really damaged, and you have to be kind of fearing a Pokemon catcher at this point too.
Yeah, either that or even Hammerhead from his Landorus finishes that off for 30. So I'm pretty sure that thing's going to go down. And at this point, I am just not feeling good about my situation. I was also hoping for a laser so I could, at least get some damage on this Boufflant and set it up for a knockout next turn. But I'm going to have to settle for 40 and then might as well do 30 to Landorus since doing 10 to a Boufflant's not the greatest.
Fair point. Now, do you think there's any merit to scooping here? Since your opponent obviously did not draw dead off of the end, and it seems like all hope is lost.
I don't think so. These are 75-minute matches, so there's plenty of time to finish. And generally, these matchups go by very quickly. I mean, this game hasn't taken very long. He's already at 3 prizes, so I'm honestly not expecting this game to go much longer, one way or the other. And I feel like it's better to use the time to figure out what's in his deck, because I'm still not exactly sure what he's playing. Does he play Mewtwo? Does he play some other stuff I'm not sure of? So I'm definitely in favor of playing this out as long as possible to just learn more about his deck.
Yeah, no, it is the undefeated deck. It just played a max potion. And you're absolutely right. There's another bicycle out of him, so now we know that he plays multiple bicycles.
Yeah, I'm learning. I'm learning he plays, multiple max potions, which I figured in the first place. But we get to see how many exactly of what he plays. Like I found out he plays Energy Switch. I wasn't quite sure on that, so these are just all things now that I know to look out for.
Yeah, and if he does play multiples of these cards, then there's got to be certain cards that he doesn't play, and it's a matter of trying to figure that out exactly. Mm-hmm. Now we've noticed that he hasn't really played anything besides Boufflant and Landorus as his Pokemon. That's interesting to me, really, because I know that you normally expect something like a Mewtwo. Tornado CX works really well with the Burbank City Gym. All these things, and you haven't actually seen them.
Yeah, I know he plays Tornadus at the very least. I mean, there's no way this guy's just running Boufflant and Landorus. It's got to be more than that, right? So I'm sure we'll see.
Yeah.
And this is a very big turn. I need to hit something here. I need to hit a laser to knock out this Boufflant, because if it gets off one more attack, I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose. So this is pretty much it. It's all or nothing here, and if I miss the laser here, I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose.
Now you just Junipered away your catcher, and is that a Skyla?
No, a Chorus.
Chorus, okay. Yeah, it's a supporter. That's what it is. Now you hit your max potion. Did you just attach the energy to your benched Landorus, though?
Yeah. I had a debate there on whether or not I should do that. I figure I either hit the laser or I don't. So.
Now we're going to be results oriented. You didn't hit an energy anyways, I don't believe so.
Right. So I mean.
Hey, thumbs up.
Yeah, thanks. At this point, I mean, it's just, what do I do now? I missed the max potion, or I missed the laser. The Boufflant's going to live. It just looks pretty terrible. I can max potion, heal off the Landorus that's active, and just pass. Maybe give myself another turn to draw that the laser and then the fighting to hammerhead him. But I'm wasting my max potion here, which was probably my ticket to maybe surviving in this game. So at this point, it looks pretty much over.
Now your opponent has something like a 3 or 2 card hand. Is there any merit to maybe catching up that Boufflant on the bench?
Yeah, there's that option as well. I could just catch her up either Boufflant or Landorus, and then max potion and pass. Just try to buy some time, because that's really the only thing I can do here. If I can maybe build enough energy into play on some attackers, maybe I can get a big end to one and make a big sweeping comeback. So catcher here is definitely what I have to do to try to buy some time, and just kind of hope he doesn't have all the cards he needs.
Oh, you did it all. You actually not only catchered, but you also max potioned your Landorus, which makes me think that you have no faith in your abilities to survive, or basically you have no faith that your opponent will not play a switch there.
Well, I mean, there's no reason to take the risk, I guess. He's only played maybe 1 or 2 switches to this point, so I guess I could hammerhead, but that doesn't even improve like the damage increment on his Boufflant. So I'm still going to need a laser regardless. And if he's going to switch, I'm sure that's what he's going to switch into. So I feel like it's just better to heal the guy off.
This situation kind of reminds me of a really one of my favorite poker quotes, and that is actually "No gamble, no future," Kyle. You got to learn to kind of take some gambles here. And, even though it would have failed, it would have failed. He did definitely find the switch right now. Still, no gamble, no future. So, we're gonna see your opponent actually switch out here, but at least you're gonna be able to have a beefy Landorus in the active spot.
Well, he's going to be minus 120 hit points, but sure, he looks beefy, I guess.
There's a Hypnotoxic Laser to go with it too. That's actually disheartening too because now he's gonna have 150 damage on it.
Yeah, and that's almost like a nail in the coffin kind of thing. He's going to have 30 hit points left. I have Rescue Scarf, which doesn't reduce damage or anything. At this point, I'm not really sure what I can do. The reason I did that catcher play in the max potion last turn is because I had another catcher in my hand, so I could just bring him right back out and then go for the laser play this turn. But obviously this all backfired. He had everything he needed. And this is one of those, well, now what do I do?
Well, yeah, he did definitely draw well. Now, being the number 1 seed, you kind of have to anyways. So that's definitely not a knock on him. That's actually pretty good that he's getting lucky where it counts. But at the same time, you really haven't been able to put up much of a resistance, and you had to know coming into this match that this was probably going to play out this way, right?
I didn't think it would be quite this bad. I thought I'd at least draw a couple more prizes here. But, this is kind of like what can happen when the Bouffalant gets set up and I don't have any response to it. It's downhill. I mean, it's a slippery slope. You can see, like, I'm just on the back foot every time he plays a laser and then hits me for 120. It's like, what do? I can't keep this Pokemon active now, but what do I switch to? I don't have anything ready with energy. The only thing I could do is get Mewtwo out, which I haven't been able to draw into.
Yeah, this really does showcase the power of the Hypnotoxic Laser. My God, that card is so strong. Honestly, it's for being an item. I don't even think a supporter would do it justice, but for being an item, it does so much. Like, not only does it potentially stop your opponent from attacking and all that other stuff, but it combined with that Burbank City Gym, it deals 30 damage, forces your opponent to have a switch. If he doesn't have a switch in these types of situations, and it's kind of like, oh, hey, this item just gave me 2 prizes. And even if you do have the switch, it forces you into so many awkward spots. It's just, oh, man, this card really does dominate this format.
Yeah, I had an interesting decision on the Skyla. I could have grabbed a switch, but I figure if I grab a switch, what do I do? Basically what's going to happen is he can just Land's Judgment with the Landorus, and then he's going to Hammerhead at some point for a win. So I figure I'll just take my chances, grab an N with the Skyla, and then promote my Tornadus, hope he doesn't have a catcher, and we'll see what happens from there.
Now, I'll be honest with you, this looks pretty pitiful. The fact that you're like scratching your head in these turns, you're trying to find a way to survive and stay afloat. And in reality, this is pretty much over, and it's been over for a while. I mean, don't get me wrong, you've definitely pulled off some moves to potentially get yourself back in the game, but he's always had the answer, and he's just never been on the back foot at all. He's constantly been applying pressure, and it's just it's kind of sad seeing past tense Kyle do his best to stay afloat, but just not have any success whatsoever.
Yeah, that was pretty much as ugly of a game as we could get. He did draw the catcher up as Juniper, so that was it. I remember at the time he was like, oh, I thought that was a giant cape on your Landorus. I thought it was going to survive. And then he got his 2 prizes, and then he drew a Juniper, and he's like, oh, I thought I was going to have to end myself, but that worked out a lot better than I thought. I was like, well, yeah, that was kind of the story of the game. It's just me dying and then him kind of having everything every step of the way. He didn't miss a beat ever, and there's no way I'm going to beat him when that happens.
Yeah. Now, the number 1 seed, Isaiah, has to be feeling pretty good. He's up 1 game against you. You are I believe, the 16th seed here, so it's kind of fitting. And the fact that he's up a game, he's he hasn't actually lost the match all tournament long. You have this so much momentum on your side, and really you have to feel kind of invincible. I would know that because every time I've been the number 1 seed in these tournaments, I feel pretty invincible until somebody finally, brings me down a notch.
It's weird. I'm sure he's very confident at this point, but you have to realize you're just 2 losses in a row away from losing. I mean, you can win. Geez, he's won. I think he went 2-0 in his first match, so he's won 11 straight games now. But you could very easily just lose 2 in a row and then get knocked out of the tournament. So where
Mr.
there's,
Glass half empty over there.
I mean, that's happened to
He's
me.
one game away. He's one win away from being in the top 8. How about that, huh? How about
Yeah,
them apples?
that's certainly a way to look at it as well. But I mean, all it takes is a fluke loss here, and then maybe you lose a really close game, and then you could be out. That's happened to me tons of times in tournaments. There was actually a tournament where I went undefeated in games at a regional championship all the way to the finals, and then I won the first game of the finals, and then I lost my last 2. So I won every single game I played except for the final 2, and then I ended up taking second. So
Yeah, well, that happened to me against William Hunks. The gym challenge that'll live forever in infamy in my mind. All right, so you actually do get a basic Pokemon. Your opponent this time mulligans.
hmm
So you're gonna get a new card, and you're gonna get to go first. I'm assuming. I don't think you're gonna want to go second here.
Depends on how generous I'm feeling.
Okay. Well, how generous did you feel at this point in time?
Well, I felt like I was at a disadvantage, so I should probably go first.
That's a lot of respect that you're giving your opponent there. You normally let him go second, or you normally let them go first.
I don't think it's
Psych.
respect. It's more of a how much would you have to disrespect your opponent to have to go second? That'd be pretty
Sorry, buddy. You need the help. You can go first. Here, I actually won't draw for my mulligans either. That seems a little unfair.
Yeah, so this is probably the best thing that could happen. He is giving me a bunch of extra cards. I get to go first. I don't think I started with Trubbish this time, so things are definitely looking up this time around.
Yeah. Now you're only something like a 70-30 underdog at this point in time.
No, I actually think this matchup is not as bad as people like to think.
That was a joke, by the way. I don't actually think you're a 70-30 underdog there.
No, I know you're joking, but a lot of people feel like this is almost an auto loss. But in reality, I don't think it is at all. I played this matchup actually 3 times in Swiss, and I beat all 3 of them because it honestly can just come down to laser and N, and it's actually really close just because of those 2 cards. So even though I am at a big disadvantage when you look at the consistency issues, the fact that he plays more max potions, I don't know, for some reason it just ends up being close a lot.
Yeah, and you actually played a Pokemon catcher right away. Burbank City Gym immediately. Get a giant cape on there. See, I didn't mess it up this time. And I want to see an N out of you or something like that. Okay, there is an N.
Oh, go figure.
I said an N, but that was just a random supporter name that I just randomly dropped out of that. But really, I just wanted to see you kind of refresh your hand after playing all these awesome cards. And the fact that you get to bring the Boufflant up active, kind of take away a few of those options there. I really like your spot here. You really took advantage of the fact that he mulliganed.
Yeah, I was actually surprised he put down a second Pokemon there. I was very happy to see it because it's going to let me hit 2 things with Hammerhead. And I decided to catch out the Boufflant for 2 reasons. The first one is that I'll hit him for 40 instead of 10, so I'm going to spread more damage out, obviously. And the second one is that he really doesn't have any offensive options starting with Boufflant. He's going to need to waste a switch. So this was honestly the perfect scenario for me.
Yeah, everything up to the tails on the Hypnotoxic Laser, which actually doesn't truly matter.
Yeah,
but
I'll live with that.
Yeah, I'm sorry?
Said I'll live with that.
Okay, good. Now, you did deal 70 after the poison damage, thanks to that stadium, and 30 to the Landorus. That's an incredible turn 1 there. You even get a Trubbish in play, just kind of as like the cherry on top.
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling incredible after that turn. If he doesn't switch that Boufflant out, he gets knocked out from poison damage, and I'll get a free shot at something new. So this is exactly what I can hope for. I mean, this is the most pressure you could put on someone starting turn 1.
And he actually plays a really subpar supporter for being a turn 1 supporter. I don't like seeing things like Skyla on turn 1. I want to see somebody kind of play their hand down and refresh their hand at the same time. But he had to Skyla in order to get a switch. Otherwise, he would just kind of be giving up that Boufflant for nothing. So right. There goes that laser doing tons of work right away.
Yeah, and in past formats, we actually didn't see switch used too often. I mean, it was maybe like a 1 of or 2 of. But when Pokemon Catcher is in the format, we see decks like this actually go up to 4 switch, which I don't think we've ever seen in the history of Pokemon. Kind of interesting to see.
Now, like, not only do you have to worry about catcher when you're playing, these cards, but now you also have to worry about the laser. Yeah. So that's even more reasons to play as many switches as you can possibly get your hands on.
True. And he plays a catcher here, which makes me almost regret putting down the Trubbish. But I don't regret putting it down just because if I can get Garbodor out this turn and finish off that Buffalon on the bench, it's going to be a big moment. But what he makes me do is attach an energy to the Trubbish to retreat, and that makes my Land's Judgment a turn slower.
Yeah, that is true. But you did try to Hypnotoxic Laser on your opponent's Landers, obviously hoping for that heads there. That gives you a little bit um, more breathing room. But you didn't actually hit the heads. You actually the Landers is not tired at all, and you are at this point are trying to get your Garbodor. I'm assuming Garbodor and a tool at this point.
Yeah, this is great. Even though I'm not going to be able to Land's Judgment, the math works out just great. I'm going to hit for 60, and then if he stays there, he'll go up to 120 damage coming back into my turn, which means I can just Hammerhead again, and then the Verbank and Poison somehow finishes him off at 180. It's weird how much damage that actually does, but this damage situation is perfect for me where I don't really mind not being able to Land's Judgment because I'm going to Hammerhead anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, your opponent obviously is going to have very much energy on the field. His Landers is going to be pretty much at the brink of death, and it's looking pretty bad for him. So if I'm him at this point, I'm looking to get additional attackers in play, and I'm looking to kind of weather the storm here that you put on him early, and the fact that he had to Skyla last turn for a switch just to kind of put himself in this position, which you're about to counter anyways, just seems like a really tough spot for him.
Yeah, he's got to be under a ton of pressure right now. I decided to bench a second Landorus there. I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to, but I figured in case he had an N, I might as well I don't want to get it stuck in a spot where I just don't have another Pokemon on my field. So I'm going to take the risk there, even though I'm probably going to get hit for 30 with Hammerhead. I don't know if that was the right decision or not, but that's why I benched that second Landorus there.
Well, Max Potion's pretty good, Kyle.
Yeah, it's not bad. And then, I'm just trying to weather the storm with these kinds of things. Like I said, I played against this deck 3 times in the Swiss rounds, and this happened to me a couple times. I had to weather 3 Max Potions and somehow still come out on top. So the only way you can do that is honestly with Laser and being the one who puts the pressure on right away. So we'll see if I can survive, the Max Potion storm.
Yeah, now, last turn I said that he had to weather your storm, which really what I was trying to say was you had an incredibly fast start. You got the correct attacks into play. You actually you got your Garbodor out exactly when you wanted to, and he was on the back foot. But really, all it took was 1 Max Potion out of him, and now you're kind of he kind of reversed it in a way, saying, "Hey, look, if I get another one of these Max Potions, you're now going to be in a lot of trouble." And obviously, at this point, he's probably hoping for something like a Laser.
Yeah, that's true. The big thing, though, is he's still poisoned. He can't get rid of it. So that damage is still going to add up really quickly. And I am ahead by a prize. There's still another Buffalon out there. But just when I say that, he has a switch and an energy switch. So never mind.
And a Bicycle, just for good measure. That Bicycle draws him 3 cards, which is obviously exactly what you want your Bicycle to be doing for you. And right here, it's looking like a really great addition to his deck, just by the way that it's been working out for him. Game 1, it got him to switch. Game 2 here, it just refilled his hand after playing this awesome combination of switches and energy switches.
Yeah. One of the things good for me that happened that turn was he did Ultra Ball away a Max Potion. I was really surprised when I saw that because I'm like, wow, it's 1 more Max Potion I don't have to worry about.
That was so subtle I didn't even notice it. Wow.
Yeah, so he discarded 1 there, and I was actually feeling like, all right, I feel like I have a good shot at winning this game now because he discarded 1 of those, and maybe I got a shot. Who knows?
Yeah, now at this point that he's got a maximum of 2 more Max Potions left, but likely 1. Really, I can't see the deck playing 4 Max Potions. That'd be pretty techy, especially after playing all these other cards. But you're right that getting rid of that Max Potion is really big for you. Now, at that point, you were talking about having to weather the storm of Max Potions, and that's 1 less potion you got to worry about, and your opponent still has 6 prizes. And you now have 2 energy on this Landers, which obviously is threatening a lot of damage.
Yeah, this is a huge turn for me where if I can catch out that Buffalon, I think I am clear for victory. because I'm going to be able to knock out Buffalon with a Lance Judgment, and then I'll just be able to discard all my energy and go for a big 150 hit, and pretty much should close out the game from there. But it's just a matter, can I get the switch and the catcher? And if I don't, I'm going to have to be at a tough decision on whether or not I want to discard my energy and knock out his active.
You know what I really do find interesting, though, is the fact that you just played a Trubbish. You played this Trubbish to give your opponent two Pokemon that he can knock out for one prize. Is there a reason for this?
The first reason was that Colress there. I needed to draw more cards. So you draw a card for each bench Pokemon. So I wanted to draw 5 here because I knew the catcher was such a big deal here. Second reason is I don't think he's really going to be able to waste time knocking out Trubbish and Garbodor. Especially when he's powering up Buffalon, it just doesn't seem feasible that he's going to be able to knock out both in time. And it also gives me an option to use Garbage Collection if my hand goes really bad. So 3 reasons.
I think you're stretching it with the last one, but all right, I'll give it to you.
Hey, you'd be surprised. Garbage Collection's not bad.
Also, he did already play a couple of Pokemon catchers, so you don't really have to worry about those all that much anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, you Lance Judgment here and take your prize.
Yeah.
Prizes.
Yeah, I get 2 prizes there. I'm still not completely sure whether or not that was the right thing to do. Now, the reason I did it was he could easily just have a switch and energy, and then I lost an opportunity to knock out an EX, which is a pretty big deal. So even though I made it easier for him to knock me out, I felt like it was I do need to take some risks in this matchup, so I decided to just go ahead, discard the energy, take my 2 prizes, knowing that he plays Max Potion, and he did play his 3rd one there, so now I know any damage is probably going to stick on his board for the rest of the game.
Well, you just took the words right out of my mouth. Now I don't know what to say, but yeah, you did mention that 3rd Max Potion just went down, and honestly, if I'm you, I'm thinking that there's no way he plays a 4th. I'm going to play around the fact that as much as I can. But, I mean, if it comes down to it, I'm going to make a play that relies on him not having a 4th Max Potion, just because it seems like it would be so difficult for him to have one.
Yeah, now this is the scariest turn of the game. After being N to 3 and no energy in play, this is where I promote the Trubbish, and I'm like, all right, I need to actually use Garbage Collection here. I didn't draw a supporter, but I actually did top deck a Juniper this turn, which was the game changer.
And you do Hypnotic Laser here. Yeah, I think you have fancy play syndrome, which I do too. Don't get me wrong. I think I would have gone for the Garbage Collection too. But you did have an energy card in your hand, correct?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
Nope.
Okay. Never mind. Take it back.
Yeah, if I had an energy, I'm pretty sure I'd just use Hammerhead there and just live with the results. But especially when I have the laser in my hand. But without anything, I figured, man, if I don't draw an energy or a supporter, I'm going to sacrifice a Landorus, which I don't think I can do. I'd rather sacrifice a Trubbish.
Fair. Now, you actually discarded the Garbodor here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you chose to actually let the Trubbish go down without really putting up any type of a fight, just so you don't have to waste the switch if you don't have to, or something like that?
Well, again, I want to leave my option for Garbage Collection open.
You're actually relying on the Garbage Collection.
Well, I mean, just being able to get back any card is very powerful. You know, getting back a 5th laser, a 5th switch, another supporter. I want to have that there in case, he ends me to 1 or 2 or something like that. The benefit of him not having too much damage on that Garbodor yet is that I could maybe waste a turn to Garbage Collect and get me a crucial catcher or something like that to win the game. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, you're actually playing this a lot like a Darkrai deck would have in that spot, or you're thinking of playing it like that, where you want to kind of get back your lasers, things like that, while your laser actually deals damage at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, you got another Landorus. You now attached the Rescue Scarf to it and attached an energy to it instead of your active Trubbish.
Yeah. Now here I had an interesting decision on whether I could switch Hammerhead and then force him into a weird spot where he would get knocked out coming back into my turn. Or I could just Garbage Collection, let the damage build up, get something back. And I don't know. Maybe that works out. I think I end up going for the Hammerhead, doing the more aggressive strategy. But I'm not sure. There are a lot of difficult decisions in this game. And I still don't know which ones are correct.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And What I think I would have personally leaned towards is the fact that he not only ended but then drew two prizes immediately after the end makes me think that I kind of want to end my opponent myself. Otherwise, he's really gonna have a lot of options for the remainder of this game, and I kind of want to take those away if I can. But either way, you did go for the hammerhead, and we're gonna see if that works out for you or not.
Yeah, another thing was if he just had a catcher and brought me out, that could have been devastating for me. If he just goes after me, then I kind of lose a turn of doing damage. Where I really am trying to set up for that final knockout at some point, spreading damage to like a Landorus enough where I could finish it off with. I do play a Tornadus of my own. I do play Mewtwo, so I'm just trying to do as much damage as possible to try to take my last three prizes here.
I was kind of skimming through his deck while he was looking through it, and I don't think I actually saw a psychic Pokemon. Obviously, that being Mewtwo.
Yeah.
Now he just barely skimmed through it, so I'm not sure. But we haven't seen it all game. We actually haven't seen it out of you either. But we haven't seen it out all game. And if he doesn't have a Mewtwo here, it's kind of crucial.
Yeah, I actually, after the first game, I realized he doesn't play Mewtwo at all, and I play two Mewtwo, so I'm pretty sure Mewtwo is one of the best Pokemon against Boufflant, just for a DCE. If you have the Garbodor out, you can actually do 100 and knock him out, but I just was never able to find him. But this is actually the biggest turn of the game in my eyes. He goes ahead and catches out the Landorus on the bench and uses a laser to take his two prizes here, which at this point I actually felt like after he did that, I couldn't lose this game because he's going to give me. I have a Landorus with one energy and no damage on it now. So all I have to do is attach two energy, and Hammerhead once, lands Judgment for 150, and I take my last two prizes and I win. So I was very happy after that turn.
Yeah, the math actually works out perfectly for you here, and you're right. All you really do need is two energy cards, and not to forget to use Hammerhead. Good luck.
Yeah. At this point, I'm just trying to think. I do have a Juniper in my hand, but I also have a catcher and an energy. So I'm thinking, what would I even be trying to Juniper for here? I have everything I want. I don't want to discard the good cards, so I'm just going to go ahead and Hammerhead, and maybe I can disguise the strength of my hand. And really, what can he do at this point? I am feeling like he would need to do something absurd to beat me at this point.
Or just play an N.
Yeah, the N was the other part, and that's kind of why I wouldn't play the Juniper. Why would I discard cards that I want to win? So
Now he does have a double colorless on that Tornado CX, so that's who he's choosing to use as his attacker. A Hypnotoxic Laser works too. Yeah, that's a very good attacker. And he actually gets heads on the laser, so
yeah.
that strong Hypnotoxic Laser just puts you to sleep.
This is where I'm like, oh yeah, this could happen too. Now he is attaching to the active Landorus, so basically what this means is if I wake up, I just win. I have the energy in my hand, I attach, that's game over. I just lands Judgment for the win. So I'm still feeling very happy about it, but now you have that feeling in the pit of your stomach like, ooh, what if I stay asleep though?
What if you stay asleep, Kyle? Yeah, we didn't really account for that while we were doing the math last turn for you to actually win this game. The Hypnotoxic Laser not only is really good offensively, but at the same time it plays great defense if it gets the right flips. So you stay asleep and oh man, that's got to be a heart-sinking feeling for you.
That's one of those where you just take in a big sigh for the for the moment, where the game clearly is in your grasp. All you got to do is attach and attack and win, and then all of a sudden, he flips heads, you're asleep. You flip tails, you're still asleep. And this went from, all right, this game is on lock, we're on to game 3, to, now what do I do?
Something tells me that we're seeing the last appearances of the Pooka stash here.
Well,
this might be the Pooka stash's time to go.
Now the positive thing is, at this point I've only played 2 switches. I haven't played my computer search, so I have plenty of switches left in my deck. I have a Juniper in my hand. I can draw 7 cards. I have really good odds to hit a switch, at least get out of this. And he's played 3 catchers up to this point, so the odds of him knocking me out if I do get a switch are extremely low. I think he's played probably 3 lasers, 3 catchers, and 2 or 3 switches. So to beat me if I draw a switch, he's going to need a catcher, a switch, an energy, and a laser to power blast for the win. And all I have to do is draw a switch, and I'm fine.
Yeah, at the same time, he does have a lot of cards in his hand, but you're right that he has played three catchers. I've been counting those as well. Um,
So here's
and
the big
yeah,
Juniper. Need to draw a switch,
Ooh.
and those don't look like switch cards.
Yeah, it
So
looks pretty ugly actually.
yeah, at this point it went from just look how quickly it was. I don't think I can lose this game to nope. Well, I stayed asleep. Maybe I got some problems here, but I got a lot of switches left. To wait, did I just lose this game? Uh oh.
Well, you haven't totally lost that. He still has to have a switch himself, or yeah, he really does need to switch himself here.
Yeah, that.
There is that Mewtwo, by the way. Your Mewtwo does make an appearance.
And he joined the
Before,
party.
yeah, it's threatening to deal a lot of damage right now, and your opponent's got to do something.
Yeah, you can see he
But
actually
yeah,
didn't have a switch in his hand, and he top decks the energy switch, which allows him to move the energy to Landorus, DC, and all it takes is a power blast or a blow through for 60, and the laser finishes me off.
ooh. Okay, well, that's the end of Pooka Stash and the end of Kyle Sucevich. Isaiah does move on. He does take you out 2-0. It seemed like game one is firmly in his control, and then game two, you actually kind of reversed the situation on him. And even though his deck had a matchup advantage on you, you were really aggressive this matchup. And unfortunately for you, it didn't pay off. The game does come down to these kind of situations where it gets really close at the end, and then things like hypnotoxic laser and N can really just ruin the aggressor's day, and it happened to you. So that is the end of your tournament run.
Yep.
Sorry.
Thanks. At the time, when stuff like that happens, it really does kind of feel like the game was stolen from you when you stay asleep on a laser and just kind of get knocked out by that. But you got to understand that's part of the game. I'm sure at some point in the tournament I did that to somebody. And, that's just the reality we have. Those cards exist. I stayed asleep. It just wasn't meant to be. And, I don't even know if I would have beat him in a third game. So it's hard to be salty about it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You had a great tournament. You made it in as a 16th seed in your hometown's regional or your home state's regional. So that's
Mm.
pretty cool. And you know what? Nothing to be ashamed of. Now it's up to Isaiah to kind of continue his undefeated streak and see if he can pull off the big win.
Yeah, I mean, he obviously has the hot hand. He's undefeated, hasn't even dropped a game in a series yet. So, I mean, congratulations to Isaiah, definitely. He deserves the win. He's a great guy, a great player. He actually hasn't been playing for too long. I think he started about a year or two ago. So he's one of the up-and-coming players. He's had a lot of success. So no shame in losing to him. I'm happy for him. I mean, obviously I'm sad that I lost, but I wish him the best of luck, and we'll see how he does in the future rounds.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and we hope you continue to watch our coverage of Wisconsin regionals.